Run music now. Standby video. Video now. Standby studio. Going to the studio in 4, 3, 2.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dick Schlechter, and welcome to another special episode of Impact. And as we've done over the past several years, it's always been a pleasure for us to turn the controls of Impact over to someone else for a very special program. And indeed, tonight, we're going to do that. That person that we're going to turn the controls over to is Abby Gruber, who is with us here for a couple of moments at least. And Abby, you are the Bureau Chief for of Recreation for the Department of Recreation and Parks. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And Abby, if you would, tell us a little bit about what we're going to see here tonight. This is your Volunteer of the Year Awards program. We know that. Yes. And we're only going to really see just a smidgen of the volunteers that are involved with Parks and Recreation. Or Recreation and Parks. It is Recreation and Parks, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, because I keep reversing these two for some reason. Abby, tell us a little bit about tonight.
Well, tonight is our opportunity to honor the volunteers that serve us so well at Recreation and Parks. And as you know, Dick, they are at the heart of everything that we do, and we wouldn't be able to operate without them. So we like to take this opportunity to ask those that have served us so well to step forward and be recognized and thank them for all that they've done.
Well put, Abby. And I do want to ask one other question in the moment or so that we have. And this is a question that I asked last year, and I want to bring it out again this year because there may be some new viewers out there that are not aware of this. But let's get into the subject of numbers. How many volunteers are involved in your organization?
Well, our numbers fluctuate from year to year. Looking back at the statistics from this past fiscal year, we had about 12,000 volunteers come through the doors to operate programs and run concession stands. And that actually comes out to be about 730,000 hours of dedicated volunteer service. Wow. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you take 730,000 hours of volunteer time and multiply that by some number like $7 or $8 or $10 an hour. Abby, they're calling you.
Oh no, Dick, I'm never going to make it on time. I need your help.
Well, we've done that before. You know the drill. All right, Control, send her up to the stage. Control, you got the wrong coordinates. You got to get her out of there.
This doesn't look quite right, and whew, boy, is it getting hot. Where am I? Dick, help! This isn't Volunteer of the Year. Hello out there. Good evening, everyone. By my watch, I think that it's probably time to get this evening's festivities started. My name is Abby Gruber. I'm the Bureau Chief of Recreation, and I would like to welcome all of you to this beautiful facility, the South Carroll Senior and Community Center. Is it anyone's first time here tonight? Yes. This has been open almost a year to date, and we're so thankful to have it. The seniors use it extensively during the day, and then in the evening, we have the good fortune of being able to use it for community recreation programs and rec council activities. So I felt that it was fitting to take this year's event and show off this lovely facility. So please do enjoy it. A couple of housekeeping items that I have for you before we get started. On your tables, you will find paper, lots of it. We have our winter program guide that was just released, our annual report, and of course a program for this evening's event. I would ask that if you're interested in the information, please take it with you. If you're not, you can certainly leave it on the tables and we'll collect it at the end, but it is for your review if you're interested. I usually speak a little bit longer, but I will be honest with you, we have a very long program this evening, and I'm going to get right down to business. I just want to say that one of the things that I was thinking as I was talking about this event with my 8-year-old last night around the dinner table, I told her that this is a very fitting time of year to have this event. Because as we look forward to Thanksgiving, I think that there's no better time to celebrate those that we're so thankful for, and that's our volunteers that are here this evening. So thank you very much to all of you. It's a lovely turnout. I'm going to next introduce our national anthem singer this evening. Her name is Kim Mull. Our singer this evening grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and received her Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from Penn State University in 1995. She came to Maryland in 2000 for a job opportunity where she met and fell in love with her husband, Robert. Since 2004, they have lived in Eldersburg with her stepson, Justin, their tabby cat, Harley, and yellow lab, Shelby. Justin graduated from Liberty High School in 2002. Kim currently works as construction manager in charge of material sales and architectural design for a company in Laurel, Maryland. She attends St. Joseph's Church, where she has been a religious education teacher for 6 years, and serves with her husband on the church's building committee. Kim began singing as soon as she could talk and has sung in high school musicals, church choirs, and at state fairs. She has performed with bluegrass and modern pop bands, has been Baltimore's Middle-Aged Idol winner for 2003, and has received support from Encore Entertainment in Nashville, Tennessee. For the last 3 years, Kim has been a top 10 finalist in Carol's Idol. Along with weekend karaoke singing, her hobbies include antiquing, jewelry making, and running an eBay business. I am so pleased to present to you, our volunteer soloist for the evening, Kimberly Mull. If everyone will please stand and face the flag.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you so much, Kim. That was beautiful. Wonderful way to open our program. Next to the podium, I would like to invite a very important person. He is the chairperson for the Recreation and Parks Advisory Board, and to a lot of you out there, that means here's your self-help projects twice a year. So, without further ado, if I could please invite Colin Furneaux to the podium. Colin?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As Abby's already told you my name, I won't have to repeat it. I have the privilege of being the current chair of the Recreation and Parks Advisory Board. We meet monthly to consider items that needed input from local residents of the county who have a wide range of skills and experience to offer the Department of Recreation and Parks. These items that we consider twice a year range from requests for grants to purchase new pieces of equipment, money to help with maintenance. I never imagined any of us would have thought that we'd become such experts on ball dirt, and also policy issues. May I extend to you all a very warm welcome this very special evening, when we not only make awards, but offer a huge thank you to these special people. In so many ways, these volunteers recognised tonight are the tip of the iceberg. Week in, week out, literally hundreds of volunteers give up their time to help with administration, coaching, maintenance, and a host of other tasks to make it possible for so many to learn, take part, and have fun in a wide variety of activities. One of the very best features of the task we have as an advisory board is to work very closely with the superb senior staff of the Carroll County Department of Recreation and Parks. In all of this county is so well served by the leadership of the director, Jeff Deggets, who leads his team by example and good judgment. Jeff, would you please stand? Jeff Deggets. As citizens of Carroll County, we are so well served by all their efforts. Could we please recognise their efforts and thank them for the really hard work they put in on our behalf and their important part in making living in Carroll County such a delight. Recreation and Parks members, please stand. Come on. There's several of them scattered about. Here in Carroll County, we are just about to embark on a new chapter in the form and structure of our county government. We have collectively just elected 5 people instead of 3 to represent us all in the decision-making process. However, we are very grateful to Mr. Dean Minich, who has joined us this evening, who has retired as one of the 3 commissioners from the previous structure. After 8 years' service to the county, it is very fitting he should be with us, because he was a volunteer in the broad sphere of recreation. Firstly, coaching recreation league teams, and secondly, as a Boy Scout leader. I'm sure we'd like to thank him for a long period of service to the citizens of Carroll County and ask him to stand and be recognised. Dean. And then lastly, I'd like very much indeed to thank all of you who have come to support the special people we're honouring tonight and congratulate them on their awards. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Colin. Wonderful remarks. Now it's my privilege to invite to the podium the Director of Recreation and Parks, Mr. Jeff Deggets.
Good evening. I have to confess that as many times as I've talked about ball dirt, it never sounds as good as like when Colin just said it. I've got to work on that. Thank you all for coming out tonight. I wanted to share something briefly with you. I was looking at an article the other day. It was talking about volunteerism, and it made the comparison between volunteerism and voting. And I thought, well, that's kind of timely. We just had an election. I'll read further. And in a nutshell, what it said was, In an election, you get the opportunity to vote every 2 years about the type of community that you live in, what's important to you, and what you want to see. When you volunteer, you get to vote every day. Every single day that you show up, it's to support things that you love, to do things that you enjoy, protect what's important, and most of all, make a difference. All of you have done that. We are very appreciative of those efforts. Abby mentioned earlier the annual reports that are on your table. If you look through there, there's some staggering numbers in there. Staggering because they're true, and they're just very impressive. Every year, our volunteers raise and spend over $4 million here in Carroll County. Not just spend it, raise it first, and then spend it. Every year, our volunteers are donating over 700,000 hours of service. When you attach a value to that, you're looking at about $16 million value for all of those hours of service. Combined, you're looking at a local investment of $20 million every year, over and over. You know, there's the old joke about voting early and often. I think when you compare the volunteering to voting and you look at Carroll County, our volunteers clearly have voted early and often. For that, we are extremely grateful. As staff, it's a privilege to work with such wonderful people. You're going to hear about some very special people tonight. This, by no means, is all of them. They are truly special. This is the tip of the iceberg, though. We're talking many, many volunteers who help us out on a regular basis. So again, we thank you. We say thanks to all of the volunteers. We appreciate you coming out tonight, and thank you for all your support. I would like to introduce Mr. Dean Minnick, Commissioner Dean Minnick. And Dean, along with the remaining board, has been very, very supportive of recreation and parks over the years. A number of facilities, such as the one we're sitting in right now, became a reality thanks to the leadership of the Board of County Commissioners. So we thank you for that support and invite you to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, and it would be very few words because I can't say anything any better than Colin and Jeff. They've said it pretty much, all of it. I remember coming to the old South Carroll Senior Center 8 years ago as a new commissioner, and some folks were sitting there saying, we'll never see a nice facility for South Carroll in our lifetime. And when we opened this place a little over a year ago, some of those people were there, and that gave me a great deal of satisfaction to be able to say hello to them. As Jeff said, I've been a volunteer, but before I was a volunteer, I was a beneficiary of volunteers. And I'll never forget the members of the Manchester Lions Club, Manchester Lion-Borough Lions Club, who started Little League Baseball about 1953 or 4 in Manchester. And I played baseball, the first organized baseball in that town in many years, if not the very first organized baseball program. I was a beneficiary of that. And then when my boys came along, it was my privilege, and for the best 4 or 5 years of my life as a dad, I worked with those kids. And before that, I worked with the little kids, you know, on the soccer field. We kick a ball in each other's face. And before that, I worked with the kids with a basketball that was bigger than they were. And it was just a great experience as a parent and as a volunteer. And I know what it's about for folks who, and I know what you get out of it. You get a lot out of it. And you give a lot back. And as a member of the Board of County Commissioners, I'm just here tonight to say, an official, thank you very much for what you do. You are appreciated, not only by the county commissioners, that's almost incidental, but you're appreciated by your friends and by your neighbors and by your colleagues. Thank you again very much.
Thank you so much for your warm remarks. Our keynote speaker this evening comes to us via 35 years of dedicated service in the Baltimore County Public School System, and with many more years as an outstanding example of volunteerism himself. 27 of those years were served as an administrator in middle and high schools, serving as principal at 4 different schools. Having received his bachelor's and master's degrees from Towson University, he has completed additional graduate work at Johns Hopkins University, University of Maryland, College Park, Morgan State, Loyola, UMBC, Towson University. He served as a lecturing professor in the Masters in the Art of Teaching program at Towson University, and before retiring on June 30th, 2010, at Towson University, he served as a mentor and coach for career changers desiring to be teachers in public schools. As a volunteer, he has been a Freemason for 42 years and progressed to the highest elected position in that organization in the state of Maryland. Over those 42 years, he has worked with the American Cancer Society, the National Children's Foundation at Johns Hopkins University, the National Masonic Foundation for Children, and many other organizations and projects. Without further ado, I proudly present to you and ask that you give a warm Carroll County welcome to Mr. Stephen J. Ponzillo III.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's always a risk to be a keynote speaker and follow individuals who are well-versed in what you're about to talk about, because in many circumstances, they wind up giving your speech. And indeed, some of that occurred just a moment ago from 3 different folks who were up here, and we're talking about volunteers. Now, it's a real pleasure for me to be here because, indeed, you're paying tribute to those to whom honor is due, the volunteers. There's a publication that I think is one of those professional publications that you can find on the internet, and it's about volunteers. It's called Energize. Anybody ever heard of it? Good. Because it had a quote that Jeff decided to use that I thought was great, but it had some others. And how do you cast volunteers? What do you have to say about them? Well, here is what some folks have said about volunteers. Volunteers are seldom paid, not because they're worthless, but because they're priceless. It's good to be blessed. It's better to be a blessing. Paul Revere earned his living as a silversmith, but what do you remember him for? His volunteer work. Volunteering is the ultimate exercise, as Jeff said, in democracy. Never doubt that a small group of committed people can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And finally, don't ever question the value of volunteers. Noah's Ark was built by volunteers, the Titanic by professionals. In honoring volunteers, we pay tribute to service, indeed selfless service, for after all, a volunteer is by definition someone who provides service without hope of fee or reward. People within this room help others. They do not render that service for pay, but they do it because they care. They want to make a difference. And in making that difference, volunteers are impacting on the lives of many. Look around you in the room here. To whom do all of the folks in this room spend their time in service? For whom? They're the coaches of athletic teams. We heard they volunteer in just about every way imaginable. They work with youth groups, the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts. They work with the aged, the disabled. They're museum docents. They do just about everything. I used to teach history, So I'm always attracted to historical connections. And you know, the history of volunteerism in America dates to before the foundation of the nation, serving our neighbors, doing unto others as we would wish they would do unto us, helping others to succeed in making our communities and the world at large a better place is what all volunteers are about. Before there was recreation in parks, there were volunteers. Before there were government agencies, there were volunteers, right? In fact, volunteers filled gaps that today we are fortunate enough to have government agencies help us organize the effort. But if we think about the churches and the immigrant groups that sponsored building and loans, sports teams, social events, self-help classes, instruction in English, all filled needs and made a difference. The organized charities raised money, distributed proceeds as needed. In fact, we are very aware that even today all of those activities occur. And I've heard a figure, Jeff, it's a little bit different than what you quoted. It depends on which state you're in as to how you determine the value in money of what all the work that you folks do. You know, those 5,000 hours that you devote, those 10,000 hours that you devote. In some states, that figure gets multiplied by a little over 20-some dollars. And in Maryland, it's around $22 or so. If you put the whole nation together, volunteers are contributing hundreds of billions of dollars of service. Hundreds of billions of dollars. If we had to pay the taxes that all of that represents, we'd be a little concerned about the tax rate, wouldn't we? How all of us as volunteers help to undergird those things which government agencies do today is no better represented than in figures like that. There's a part of being a volunteer that I remember very well, and I heard it. It's raising money. Any of you have to raise money? Well, I know that I was very involved in things like making sure that Girl Scout cookies, band boosters, candy or fruit, Joe Corby's pizza, market days, raffles, 50-50s, and all of those other similar endeavors which help buy the uniforms, the instruments, the sports equipment, fund the hikes, buy the medical equipment. In short, all of those things, again, which if they had to be paid for through our taxes, can only represent something that would increase what we maybe don't want to pay. But we're willing to pay it to help in that volunteer effort. I represent an organization that's filled with volunteers. We have 17,000 members. They serve as officers of our various bodies. They staff our childhood identification program. We've ID'd over 25,000 Maryland youngsters in a program that we started 3 years ago, and we don't charge a cent for it. We've had scholarships that we give in every county that we've done since 1985, and we raise funds in order to do that. And we train teachers and school professionals for free in the Student Assistance Program, which exists in Carroll County in high schools and middle schools to help youngsters avoid substance abuse. But in the 225 years that the Freemasons in Maryland have been in existence, we're not alone in that service. Church, civic, service, other fraternal groups have recognized that serving others was, is, and we hope will always remain a cornerstone of that expression of brotherly love or relief or aid to others, which has marked our national character. I've enjoyed my work as a volunteer. I collected funds door to door. I have to give you an example of one of those circumstances that happens to a volunteer. I collected funds from door to door for the American Cancer Society. I was about 15 years old at the time. And there were several other fellows with us. We were all in the same organization, and we did that civic duty of collecting money for cancer. So we would knock at the door, unsolicited at folks' homes, and say that we were collecting money for the American Cancer Society. So we knocked at one door, and the man answered it, and he wanted to know what we were selling. And the fellow next to me said, cancer. And he said, well, how much? And promptly gave us a donation. As a school principal, I saw the devotion of a lot of volunteers, because after all, schools are staffed with lots of volunteers. Anybody in here serve on the PTA? I thought so. Anyone in here, were you a room mother? Ooh, there they are. Because of the service of volunteers, our job was made so much easier. Because of the service of volunteers who were there not just for their youngsters, but for all the youngsters, the school functioned so much better and completed its mission in a much more effective way. I heard the former commissioner say that this very thing, that each of us are indebted to some volunteer in our lives, that person who made a difference. And tonight we have the opportunity to recognize those who work, sometimes unsung and unappreciated. But tonight we'll have an opportunity to say, no, you're not unappreciated, because indeed your work is going to be celebrated. Thus, to the volunteers, congratulations and thank you. Carroll County is better because of you. May success always crown your efforts, and may your numbers increase. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ponzillo. It was very uplifting. I now have the pleasure to call to the podium a woman who has been at the heart of this event for a very long time. And I really don't know how we would persist without her, because she not only will MC the rest of the evening in presentation of the awards, but she does so much work behind the scenes that is probably never even noticed, that I wouldn't be able to put this event on without her. So it is my extreme pleasure to bring to the podium Miss Linda Silphy.
What a sweet words. Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Tonight is definitely going to be an accent challenge for you, because now I'm the Southern girl that's going to be up here for a while, so bear with me. I'd like to welcome everyone to the 2010 Volunteer of the Year Awards ceremony. It is so nice to be here with you again this year, and especially in this new and beautiful facility, the South Carroll Senior and Community Center. My personal thanks go to Jeff and to Abby and the Carroll County Department of Recreation and Parks. I have been a part of this event for a number of years now, and every year I just have to say this, that it is truly an honor and a privilege for me to get to read these very special words to all of you about tonight's recipients. Thanks go to all of you sitting out in the audience for taking the time out of your very busy schedules of volunteering to attend our ceremony. After I read the special recognitions for an award recipient tonight, I'd like for you to then come up here, come forward to the stage to receive your award. You'll walk this way, and please don't be shy. We want you to feel comfortable tonight, and we really want you, if you'd like to say a few words, we welcome and encourage you to come to the podium and say a few words. So don't be shy, be comfortable. And we would be honored if you would do that just for us tonight, but you don't have to. We're not going to twist your arm. So on that note, our first award of this evening goes to the Carroll County Arts Council, so let's get started. The Carroll County Arts Council, as the supervisor of fine arts for the Carroll County Public School System, Mr. Glenn Patterson was instrumental, and yes, that pun was intended, in creating the Carroll County Arts Council's Musical Instrument Bank. Now in its 13th year, the program has provided more than 330 refurbished instruments to students in need. The reason the program has flourished is because of Glenn's outstanding fundraising efforts. Each year, he has organized a rousing Sousa-style concert for the community to raise funds to keep the program alive. And because he has generously shared his time and talents, hundreds of young people have been able to experience the joys and rigors of being in their school's band or orchestra. The Carroll County Arts Council is so proud to nominate this person tonight, this very special person. And as we bring Mr. Glenn Patterson to the stage, let's give him a standing ovation and a resounding bravo for his tireless efforts on behalf of the arts. Please, Mr. Patterson. Bravo.
I'm not bashful. I usually make a mistake or two, so you'll bear with me on that, I'm sure. I couldn't be happier to receive this award, but it really does represent some 60 or 70 other people who do that concert each year. And Sandy told me she would attempt to embarrass me a little bit, but that's all in good fun. And just to say how much I admire her, our Arts Council is second to none in its leadership, and you should be extremely pleased that she came to Carroll County. Thank you.
That's right. I forgot to say that before you escape, you have to come sit up here. Okay. Thank you. The Carroll County Equestrian Council recognizes Mike McCormick as their 2010 Volunteer of the Year. Quietly behind the scenes for over 12 years, Mike McCormick has provided support to the Equestrian Council along with his wife, Jean, who was the Equestrian Council's 2008 Volunteer of the Year. Mike shared his office to use as a meeting space for the 25th Anniversary Committee planning sessions. Recently, he provided engineering and design expertise for the construction of 2 hunter-jumper judges' stands for the Equestrian Center. The current project, coordinated by Mike and submitted by the Equestrian Council to the Self-Help Program, is for much-needed shade pavilion at the Equestrian Center. Using his engineering knowledge, skills, and abilities, Mike demonstrates the variety of talents and resources available to the Equestrian Council as yet untapped. He is an integral part of the Carroll County Equestrian Council, and the council proudly recognizes Mike McCormick as their 2010 Volunteer of the Year. Come on up.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. The Carroll County Farm Museum is proud to nominate Mr. and Mrs. Richard Van Fossen as their 2010 Volunteer of the Year. Kate Van Fossen began her volunteer stint at the museum in 1969. As one of her many talents included drawing and designing, she was recruited to draw and design the event posters. And for at least 10 years, beginning in 1972, Kate traveled to the museum from her home in Sykesville to manage the museum's general store. From 1989 to 1995, Kate served 2 terms on the Board of Governors. Requiring much imagination, Kate has loaned her talents to the museum's annual holiday tour by decorating the 7 rooms on display in the museum's farmhouse to a different theme each year. Richard Van Fossen traveled with Kate during special event weekends. Whenever Richard was on the property, he became a recruited volunteer. When Richard made the move to full retirement, it became a huge plus for the Farm Museum. Richard became the utility person needed for all events when Kate was busy with other volunteer needs. He has served as a fill-in ticket seller, security person, and whenever a void existed due to volunteer cancellations, Richard was there. While Richard is fulfilling these volunteer needs at the Maryland Wine Festival, Kate's job involves training the 400-plus ticket sellers. We do truly value these 2 volunteers who assist the staff with a myriad of activities at the Carroll County Farm Museum, and we take great pride in recognizing Richard and Kate Van Fossen as their 2010 Volunteers of the Year. Please come forward. Thank you. Thank you very much. The Carroll County Sports Complex would like to recognize John Myers as their 2010 Volunteer of the Year. For many years, the Carroll County senior softball teams have played their home games at the Carroll County Sports Complex. During those years, they have played with no dugouts to protect players from the elements. Many of the fields Carroll County seniors played on throughout the Baltimore Beltway Senior League had dugouts, and the Carroll County players were very envious of that. After several years of lugging a tarp nailed to 2x4s and attaching it to the safety fence, John Myers decided he had had more than enough. With no money available to construct dugouts, John undertook a project to construct 2 brand-new structures on Field 5 at the sports complex. Using startup funds, which, by the way, were out of his own pocket, John gathered a work crew that consisted of members from both Carroll County senior softball teams and began raising funds. We've heard a lot tonight about raising funds. He was able to raise over $3,500 in donation to cover all the costs. John and his crew worked tirelessly in the summer heat to get the dugouts under roof while his wife Peggy rallied other volunteers to supply the workers with lunches and cold drinks. Not one to seek the spotlight, John saw to it that the dugouts were dedicated in honor of former team manager and Carroll County Men's League Commissioner, Mr. Ray Owings, who had suffered a serious stroke the previous winter and is unable to play or coach anymore. The Carroll County Sports Complex is honored that their first ever Volunteer of the Year award this year goes to Mr. John Myers.
I'd like to accept this on behalf of all the members of our softball team that helped me do this project. I certainly could not have done it alone. Also, my wife, who quite capably helped me. Ray Owings is a true volunteer here. He spent over 40 years volunteering in various softball programs in this county. He had a dream to build these dugouts, and unfortunately he had a stroke a year ago. He's made a remarkable recovery from that stroke, and he's here with us tonight. He's the one that really should be applauded.
Thank you very much. The Central Carroll Recreation Council proudly recognizes Chris Johnson as their 2010 Volunteer of the Year. Chris has been integral to the success of the Rec Council's basketball program. And over the past year, Chris has taken over operation of Central Carroll's in-house basketball program, serving as coordinator. In addition to overseeing the basketball program, he still finds time to coach basketball and lacrosse. His enthusiastic manner and willingness to help out no matter what the task entails is truly refreshing. Central Carroll Recreation Council is pleased to have Chris as part of their team and looks forward to many years of working together with him. Congratulations, Chris Johnson, and you are Central Carroll Recreation Council's 2010 Volunteer of the Year. Come on up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The Charles Carroll Recreation Council would like to recognize Judy Kowal as their Volunteer of the Year for 2010. Judy has served as treasurer of the Charles Carroll Recreation Council for the past 4 years. Her responsibilities include general bookkeeping for 4 sports programs, ensuring that deposits are made and checks are written. She is responsible for keeping program commissioners on track with their budgets, and Judy never complains when last-minute emergency checks need to be written. Each May, Judy spearheads the scholarship awards given by the council. She eagerly reviews the applications with several other members and willingly presents the awards to the recipients at the school's farewell assembly. Judy is a team player, and Charles Carroll Recreation Council is very thankful for her many years of dedicated service. Please come forward, Judy.
Thanks.
Thank you, Judy. The Charles Carroll Recreation Council had a second volunteer that they wanted to honor this year. They also named Mr. Keith Purcell as their Volunteer of the Year for 2010. We all have volunteers who continue to volunteer in our recreation councils well after their children have grown. Keith is one of those golden volunteers, coaching softball and baseball for 6 years. As if that were not enough time and work in itself, he also coached soccer for 16 years. Coaching is not all he does, as Keith and his teams have spent many hours on field maintenance. This work has included painting goals, as well as filling in and seeding the fields. And Keith does all of this work without fanfare and without expecting recognition for his efforts. He does it for the love of the game and because he simply is one of the exemplary volunteers that every recreation council relies upon to continue their sports programs. The Charles Carroll Recreation Council sincerely hopes that Keith stays for another 16 years, at least. With pride, we do congratulate Mr. Keith Purcell and recognize him as 2010 Volunteer of the Year. Come forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the Freedom Area Recreation Council. It is with great pleasure that the Freedom Area Recreation Council nominates Mr. Ken Hollick as their Volunteer of the Year for 2010. Ken has been a member of the Freedom Soccer Club since its very near inception. Ken has served multiple roles on the Freedom Soccer Club Board of Directors to include the Vice President's role. He has also served the Freedom Optimist Soccer Program as a division coordinator. One of Ken's many successes was the implementation of the Freedom Soccer Club's scholarship program to deserving players within the soccer program. The Freedom Soccer Club has awarded over $11,000 in scholarship monies since Ken first started with the program. Freedom Soccer Club recently awarded $3,000 to 6 deserving players from the class of 2010. None of any of that recognition or any of that money would have been possible had Ken not taken the initiative to give back to his community and its players. Ken currently serves as a licensed soccer referee and still plays a very active role with the Freedom Soccer Club. He serves as a member of the Freedom Soccer Club Tournament Committee and has spent the past few years as the trophy coordinator. And additionally, another large achievement for Ken was to take a group of boys from the under 9 age group and train them, develop them, and mentor them all the way to under 19. Ken has invested almost 11 years of dedicated time, energy, and emotions into a group of young men who are much better citizens because of the leadership shown by him. Ken has shown longevity and a commitment to our community, and we are proud and honored to name Mr. Ken Hollick as Freedom Recreation Council's Volunteer of the Year for 2010. Mr. Hollick?
I'll be brief. Thank you very much. On behalf of Freedom Rec Council, I do want to thank, and I'm sure a lot of the other volunteers would want to thank their spouses, because obviously when we're out working and volunteering, we're not home doing things that we should be doing for them. So Diane, thank you very much. And congratulations on the other winners. Thank you.
The Friends of Hoshawa Bear Branch Advisory Council would like to recognize the Carroll County Outdoor School for the 2010 Volunteer of the Year Award. Outdoor School Principal, Mr. Steve Haycock, and his staff provide untold hours of volunteer services each year to Hoshawa and Bear Branch Nature Center. Carroll County Outdoor School began operation in 1965 and moved to Hoshawa in 1976 when Hoshawa opened for business. During their 34-year tenure, Outdoor School has become an intrinsic part of Hoshawa and Bear Branch. In 2004, Outdoor School began action projects with students. Projects include erosion control, trash pickup, recycling efforts, weeding and mulching, planting native species and removal of invasive vegetation, stream improvements, and kitchen assistance. Approximately 2,500 children stay at Hoshawa each year, providing 5,000 plus volunteer hours of service. In addition to the hours provided by the students, the outdoor school teachers, aides, nurses, and counselors work side by side with Hoshawa's staff, contributing incalculable hours, volunteer hours, overseeing projects and assisting with special events. Without the assistance of all those associated with the Carroll County Outdoor School, Hoshawa Environmental Center and Bear Branch Nature Center would not be able to provide the same level of service. The Friends of Hoshawa and Bear Branch deeply appreciate the commitment, the dedication, and the volunteer hours given so generously by Outdoor School to promote the mission of Hoshawa Environmental Center and Bear Branch Nature Center. And it is our privilege to honor them with this nomination, so very richly deserved, as their 2010 Volunteer of the Year. Please come forward, Outdoor School. Thank you.
Okay, as the administrator, as so is often the case, I get to take the credit, but the hard work is done by so many people that I work with. Mary Hoy and Marcia Compton are two of the people from the instructional team. All of the teachers at the outdoor school. Most important, it's been 34 years and 100,000 kids have gone through that. And as Linda was saying and David had alluded to, there's almost no separation between Hoshawa and the outdoor school. If you talk to people in the county and you say Hoshawa, they think of outdoor school. If you say outdoor school, Hoshawa comes to mind. That's not just a misconception. It's great to go to work at a place where we all share one vision, where we all have one common goal, where we're all working together. And collaboratively, each organization is much better than we could be by ourselves. I also want to point out that, because I'm at that point in my career looking back a little bit, 34 years, 100,000 kids, I never cease to be amazed at what kids can do when they're given the opportunity and the tools and the motive to try and make the world a better place. They just stun me. Through the years, I've been with them all. I've worked with Barry Bosley and Lauren Lustig, my good friend, Melinda Bird, Joanne Hunter, Brad Rogers, there's a few of them here, Melissa Boyle, and the acting administrator, Dave Rohr. I don't know if that says something that I'm only the second administrator for the school system, and there's been a few for Parks and Rec, but I won't go there. Thank you all very much.
The North Carroll Recreation Council honors Diane Hurd as Volunteer of the Year for 2010. Diane took over a fledgling track and field program of 6 children and transformed it to a thriving program attracting over 50 participants. She actively supported the North Carroll community and North Carroll High School, often volunteering her time to run the concession stand. Diane also worked behind the scenes to make sure that every child who wanted to join the track and field program had an opportunity to do so, regardless of their financial situation. Diane's program helped strengthen the North Carroll High School track and field teams. Some recent accomplishment of the North Carroll track and field program under Diane's management and direction include the following. In 2008, 15 of 30 athletes qualified for the Junior Olympics in Detroit, Michigan. 10 went and 1 finished second overall. In 2009, 7 of 35 athletes qualified for the Junior Olympics in Des Moines, Iowa. And in 2010, 8 of 30 athletes qualified for the Junior Olympics in Hampton Roads, Virginia. 1 high jumper won 3rd place in the 16-year-old division, and the other placed 20th overall for 13 and 14-year-olds. So please, Diane, I hope you're here with us tonight. Please give a big round of applause for Diane, North Carroll Recreation Council's 2010 Volunteer of the Year.
Yes, it is. We're glad you're here.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm definitely honored to have received this award. And as the gentleman alluded to earlier, the nominee for, I believe it was Freedom Rec Council, he spoke about his wife being left at home to do all the special things that he didn't do. Well, I brought my husband along to be a part of what I actually did, and I thank him so much for being a part of the program. I thank the other volunteers, and to believe it or not, one of the smallest programs offered through the Rec Council, but that small program touched the entire county of Carroll County. We've had children come through our program that have attended South Carroll schools, Westminster, Central Carroll County. So I'm very pleased to have been a part of their lives and they a part of mine. Thank you.
Next, we have the Piney Run Recreation and Conservation Council, and they would like to recognize 2 exemplary women as their Volunteers of the Year for 2010, Ms. Faye Worley and Joanne Neal. Piney Run owes a huge amount of gratitude to Faye Worley for her many years of dedication and sticking with them through thick and thin. Faye's most notable contribution entails baking for Apple Festival, which includes the shopping, the preparing, the packing, and the selling of over 300 dumplings and 200 pies. In addition to her annual baking responsibilities, on a weekly basis, Faye maintains bulletin boards and attends to regular business operations at the Nature Center, including mailings, assisting the public, receiving calls, and much, much more. Faye's creativity is constantly being tested, from overseeing the Piney Run wreath for the Festival of Wreaths and teaching a workshop on natural garlands during the holiday craft day. Please put your hands together as we say together, Faye, thanks a million. We could not do it without you. And please come on up to our stage. Thank you. Thank you, Faye. Okay, next, for Piney Run Recreation and Conservation Council, we have a true unsung hero at Piney Run who is, without a doubt, very, very appreciated. It's Joanne Neal, and she has served the park for 33 years. Joan's commitment to the success of Piney Run Nature Center and Park continues to soar above and beyond our expectations. As the treasurer of the council and an active member on the board, Joanne has played a crucial role in the development of the Piney Run Nature Center. From purchases made to enhance public education programs, new raptor cages, bird calling equipment, and fundraising events such as festivals and the Spring Fever Coffee House, Joanne has certainly made a positive impact on Piney Run Park and the community. Thank you, Joanne. And Piney Run Recreation and Conservation Council is extremely proud to name you as their Volunteer of the Year for 2010. Please come forward.
Piney Run's such a special place that I have to say I'm the one who's been privileged to have been on it since 1974. And so many happy, wonderful events have happened there. It's a community of people who care about each other, and the staff and the volunteers that make all those things happen all deserve an award like this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next council we're going to recognize is the Seniors in Action Recreation Council. They nominate Mary Allen as their Volunteer of the Year for 2010. Mary Allen has been a member of Seniors in Action since the 1990s, and upon retiring and moving to Westminster, Mary found out about the Seniors in Action and decided she was going to join. Attending the monthly meetings, Mary progressively got more involved in the leadership of the council. She served as president for 4 terms and continues to be on the board in the capacity of past president. Monthly, Mary takes care of sending out birthday cards to all of the members on their birthdays. She maintains these records and makes sure that no birthday ever goes unnoticed. Many tasks Mary helps with, and one of them is making the beaded bracelets to be used in raffles. She brings in plants from her home and assists in any way that she can with the monthly fundraiser. Mary handles the sign-in at the meetings and actually uses her own personal money to give change out to the members. Recently, this was brought to the attention of the board, and she was reimbursed for her change box. Mary continues to be involved on many levels and is very deserving of this honor. The Seniors in Action Recreation Council soundly declare a thank you, Mary, for all of your hard work and dedication to the council, and proudly names you as their Volunteer of the Year for 2010. And I think this might have been a surprise for you, so please come on up. Thank you. Okay. Next, we have the Therapeutic Recreation Council, and I do believe this is a surprise too. The Carroll County Therapeutic Recreation Council would like to recognize Mr. Ralph Gemmel as Volunteer of the Year for 2010. Ralph has been a member of the Therapeutic Recreation Council for several years now and has never missed a meeting. He strives to be attentive and does his own special note-taking. He can be counted on to pass out papers, to grab chairs, and he offers to help in any way that he can. His presence is invaluable to the council because Ralph and his peers are what the council is all about. His volunteerism continues with the Therapeutic Recreation Day and the Jingle Bell Hop, where you will see Ralph carrying items back and forth, setting up tables, running errands, and assisting both with our mascots for TR Day and Mr. and Mrs. Claus at the Jingle Bell Hop. With regards to our Volunteer of the Year events, which we're here tonight, Ralph has been seen setting up and taking down chairs, helping clean up, and carrying items to the car, along with doing some much-needed dumpster runs. But where he really shines is with summer camp. Ralph is a natural caregiver who ever is gentle and caring. One particular young camper who hesitates to comply with the counselors very easily, along with Ralph's guidance, then chooses to interact in all of the camp experiences. So that's a tribute to Ralph and his ability. Ralph is such an asset to the camp. He's a fine example to the campers, and the counselors love his help and dedication. And last, you will often see Ralph helping his mother, Debbie Gimmel, the department's therapeutic recreation specialist, with whatever needs to be done. She will gladly tell you that Ralph is her best friend and her true joy in life. And needless to say, Debbie is so proud of him. So please help us all to honor Mr. Ralph Gimmel tonight as the Therapeutic Recreation Council's 2010 Volunteer of the Year.
Thank you so much. I accept this for the award. Thank you so much for having me here, Volunteer Award. Thank you so much, and have a good day.
Ralph, you're going to take a seat up here with us. Very good. Thank you. The West Carroll Recreation Council names Troy Staub as their 2010 Volunteer of the Year. Troy has been involved in West Carroll Recreation Council's basketball and baseball programs for many, many years. He has been instrumental in coordinating fundraising and improving all aspects of the West Carroll baseball program. He is always finding ways to improve the players and coaches within the organization. Troy is well liked by the players and parents for his fairness and his dedication. This past year, he managed a 4-6 and a 9-10 age team, while also serving as an assistant coach for 7 and 8 and 11 and 12-year-old team. This coming year, he will be the baseball coordinator for West Carroll Baseball, once again showing his commitment for the program. West Carroll's Recreation Council is thankful for all that Troy Staub does, and with sincere gratitude, they honor him as their Volunteer of the Year for 2010. Come on up.
Thank you. Thank you.
The Westminster Area Recreation Council would like to recognize a gentleman, Mr. Kurt Brewer, as Volunteer of the Year for 2010. Kurt coaches the Westminster Rockets 8 and under and 10 and under fast pitch softball teams and helps with the Westminster Rockets Clinic. In addition to his interest in softball, he also coaches an indoor soccer team, helps with Special Olympics and the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. He's also a volunteer at Cranberry Station Elementary School, and every day he assists with Winners Mill High School athletic boosters. Anyone who volunteers this much deserves recognition, but Kurt is only 19 years old, which makes his dedication to volunteer service even more impressive. In addition to all of his volunteer work, Kurt attends Carroll Community College full-time and is pursuing a degree in elementary education. It is surely a pleasure and delight to honor this young person, Kurt Brewer, as Westminster Area Recreation Council's Volunteer of the Year for 2010. Kurt, please come forward. Thank you. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you. The Winfield Recreation Council would like to honor Dave Becker as their 2010 Volunteer of the Year. Dave Becker has served as the director of the Winfield Youth Softball in-house program for the past 6 years. He has also been a team head coach. In his capacity of director, he is responsible for creating all practice and game schedules, team composition, head coaching assignments, scheduling indoor time for pitching clinics, soliciting team sponsors, field maintenance, ordering the uniforms, and maintaining proper equipment. The list goes on and on. Under his direction, field work days and opening day parade activities have been productive and well-planned. He has been project manager for self-help activities that include the construction of a new softball field and a backstop at Majewski Park. His dedication to teaching the girls the intricacy, I'd never know that word, sorry about that one, of fast-pitch softball and the tenets of good sportsmanship are second to none. His hard work, planning, determination, and unselfishness have served the softball program very well, and he is a credit to the Winfield Recreation Council. He's never wavered from his motto, it's all about the girls. For these reasons, Dave Becker is this year's Winfield Recreation Council's Volunteer of the Year for 2010. Dave, please come to the stage.
Thank you very much. My daughter's actually told me I had to say something, so I'll make it real brief. Just teasing, girls. And as been said before, I couldn't, beyond think about getting something like this without the love and support of a wonderful family. My whole family's here, as well as my mother. Thank you very much for coming. And it does take, not just one person, to run an organization or to get things done. I have a whole group of wonderful people at the Winfield Rec Council. One person that I'd like to point out at this time is Eddie Bean. He's been a great mentor for me and sometimes a Dutch uncle. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight. Well, a Dutch uncle when he needed to be, in his own words. But as was stated earlier, I do put at the end of every one of my emails, it's all about the girls. And I think every one of us out here, even in the seats out there, know that we're all here. It's not for ourselves. It's for the giving that we love to give to everybody else. It's just truly a joy, and it makes you all feel good inside. So thank you again very much. Appreciate it.
Okay. The Woodbine Recreation Council recognizes John Adams as their 2010 Volunteer of the Year. John has been a volunteer for Mount Airy Youth Athletic Association for 14 years, during which he coached baseball and basketball. For the past 3 years, John has been Maya's baseball commissioner, overseeing the spring and fall seasons involving 470 players. He has also coached youth football for 7 years. And without a doubt, John is committed to youth sports and to volunteerism in the Mount Airy area. And that is why Woodbine Recreation Council is so very proud tonight to name John Adams as their Volunteer of the Year for 2010. John?
Well, as the last volunteer, I've only prepared about 45 minutes worth of a speech. So. Yes, my name really is John Adams, and I didn't bring Tom Jefferson or Jimmy Madison with me tonight, but I want to thank this is quite an honor. It's a very special thing, and I want to thank the Woodbine Rec Council and Mount Airy Youth Athletic Association on behalf of the 425 families or so in our baseball program, and the dozens of volunteers that really do most of the work. I want to say thank you very much. Thanks.
This recognition for Mr. John Adams, I was wondering about that. That's pretty neat. Of the Woodbine Recreation Council does conclude tonight's awards. So please, let's take a moment to give all of our award recipients one last big rousing round of cheer and applause. Okay. I'd like to take this opportunity to say a couple of thank yous. I'd like to thank Channel 19 and the Community Media Center of Westminster and Mr. Richard Slechter of RJS Productions, a division of Gilrow Associates, along with his dedicated all-volunteer crew for filming tonight's award ceremony for us. Dick's crew for tonight consists of Dick as producer-director. On audio is Mr. Dave Miller, and camera persons Tina Richardson, Sally Malik, and Channel 19's intern, Jacob Hamby. We also have a special volunteer crewman helping us out tonight for the third year, Austin Kister, a sophomore from Westminster High School. So thank you to all of these very important volunteers for tonight. And this award ceremony, to let you know, will air on cable channel 19 for about 3 times a week for about 4 weeks, most likely during the month of February 2011. It takes a while to get the program edited and to get it into the schedule, so that's why February of 2011 will probably be when it airs. So please check your local TV guide for air times on channel 19 under a show entitled Impact, because you do impact our community. So you can catch the show to tape it in your homes or contact me through the Carroll County Department of Recreation and Parks as to how to go about purchasing a personal copy of the program for yourself. I'd also like to take a moment to be sure and thank Mr. Kent Shamer and his staff at Carroll Community College for the use of their risers and their platforms for tonight's event. We'd also like to thank Karen Larimore, the center manager here, and her staff of this beautiful senior and community center for her assistance to help make our event possible for this evening. And also, thanks go to Chuck Stoll of the center for all of his efforts. Okay. We'd also like to thank Lauren Lustig and Dave Rohr of the Department of Recreation and Parks for their time and their energy to help make our event tonight happen. And please, you already did once, but let's give these nice folks a round of applause again for their help and assistance. And now, if you would, take notice of the beautiful centerpiece floral arrangements that are in the white vases on some of the tables. These lovely flowers were arranged by Westminster's Carroll County High School students of floral design at the Carroll County Career and Technology Center, led by teacher Mr. Roland Backus. After the program tonight, I'd like all the award recipients to please remain up here at the stage area for a photo opportunity. And while their photos are being taken, we welcome you all to enjoy the delicious food, snacks, and beverages that have been prepared for you by Rosemary Swartz and her kitchen staff at Hashiwa Environmental Center. Thank you, Rosemary, and all the staff. Again, all of our award recipients tonight are very special people that we've taken just a few moments out of their very busy lives to praise their wonderful accomplishments. And in parting, I'd like to leave you with the following thoughts. Pay attention to your surroundings. Take absolutely nothing for granted. Celebrate something every day. Keep your heart open to the future and what you can do. Every day brings a chance for you to draw in a breath, kick off your shoes, and dance. Give back to the world what it has given to you. Volunteering can make such a difference in your personal life and the life of others. Please keep up your good work. And hopefully we'll see you all here again with us next year for the 2011 Volunteer of the Year Award ceremony. And by the way, that also just happens to be the 40th year anniversary of the Carroll County Department of Recreation and Parks. So at this time, I'd like to ask Kim if she would come on up to the stage to entertain us for one more song. And thank you, everyone. It has truly been my pleasure. Thank you.
I'd just like to thank Linda and everyone here for having me here. I feel very honored to be in the presence of all of these wonderful people that are definitely an inspiration. So thank you very much. And you may all join along in this song because I know everyone knows the words to this one.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I've worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, from New York to LA, there's pride in every American's heart, and it's time we stand and say, the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the USA.
Thank you.
Everyone, refreshments await you in the back. Thank you.
Volunteers, stay seated. We want to take your picture real quick. We're going to make you stay here a little bit longer. Linda and Jeff, we're going to take a minute. If you'd like to come down and stand in the center, we're going to take the picture of the volunteers, please. Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, Dick, just what happened when Control was sending me to the stage?
Wrong coordinates.
Wrong coordinates? And just where was I?
Kilauea, Hawaii.
Hawaii? The volcano?
Never let it be said that we don't have a lot of fun producing television programs. Good night, everybody. This is Dick Schlechter. Stay tuned for more great programs right here on Channel 19.